Ebusion for similar mokase after the church code for seeing similar bin of ebusion for info bin so to me drop your babon say I nyasem ketua enya fa bidia groni na ye eyinachi nsensem a sorry ba ye ado for me person me nyina yakoni akokuti nsem ne mu ye ade aba
oh pinu me integrity kura to suggest that me no go for fake documents about court what for what am I going to gain from it I you know money. Because I know sincerely that the parties, the lawyers on the other side knew it was genuine. The judge said, knew it. Now, what's your judgment? Judge, initial stages of the judgment will say evidence will say or ordinance marriage certificate from Germany. They are only second one, and until the document cannot be original. Otherwise, it wouldn't sit with her decision. And I want to the making. I say,
Clay.
Exactly. If she has to decide against us, then she has to say that the certificate was fake. Otherwise, there was no window for her to decide that both of them were wives. And on a lighter side, she has always sought to explain that she met them in the middle and then promoted peace. You get the point? And in the attempt to promote peace, she has to say our certificate was fake. My certificate, I can tell on authority, it wasn't fake. It was the original certificate from Germany. So, Wow.
Lawyer, that's it. Now, what are my Ajuma Ekurawi? Abushia, SCA that Lumba, Mamre Kwanshui, appear who be here. Now,
in fact, Osha. Nkrata medical court and you front in medical court may seek for injunction because we saw a rush to bury the body when we were talking about who is a wife and who can perform. These were the two things that the court had to address as far as we are concerned. If you can really phone a process if they want to do a postmortem. And that the Abusuapeni is not even the rightful person to conduct the funeral. I know Abusuapeni, they had their lawyer. Maybe the status of Akosua as a wife is what I was prosecuting. And it is as relevant today as it was when the action was taken. Because I've said this, the disease is cancerous. Because it's cancerous. I tell you, my bet spread just say alone, you know. It is very bad for a court to look at the certificate of a country like Germany and say that fake. Couldn't say in diplomatic circle, that country can also say they won't accept any certificate from Ghana because of that decision. And I will be irresponsible. I sit down for that to happen. And what I can do is to prosecute an appeal, which will probably look at it differently and say that, oh, it was an original certificate. Because German certificate, the idea, one social media, people were posting this. There were no signatures of the parties on the certificate. And it will conclude that because the Akosua Serwaa about the certificate signature, no, the almost sign. Everything we said was true, except that they had to refuse it in order that they can create peace in court. But it is tried knowledge to be worried under German, won't be worried second wife. I don't hear. I ABC. So to succeed in doing that, they have to say, we couldn't lead evidence to show so over Germany. But Mama can't so one the represent here your Bronii court. No. In his evidence was see Lumba catch him so worried for Germany. Nadana mo ware no ye bisa no se a na wade na break it down beyond record wan kasi wagu I break the records are there for people missing from proceedings especially criticize here no they should look at the proceedings and know exactly what happened. They admitted Lumba had told them on 2 occasions that he was married in Germany. And then Bisa said, did you look at the certificate of divorce? They didn't. And I'm saying, oh, 419. That's the trend of the cross-examination. That if you knew somebody was married under German law, that's about you have to ask for a decree of divorce. Otherwise, it could happen that the marriage was subsisting. You get the point? So, to me, there was evidence overwhelming. Akosua says that he wasn't there when they were married, he wasn't there when they were divorcing. To them, who has MBA. Although Bronii witness is there, Lumba catch up say, our dinner a good one customer could teach them. What do I say? And so there was even evidence apart from the issue of certification and all. I say Mranama Kwanso Jitum, even though there was no certification. Until we are confident. And yes, Lumba and embassy basi. And I hear you be and through Bronii. But we want the truth. What do I say?
That's all. Or say, na enye the legend Daddy Lumba wawuno yesie no ena eha wonom ena omoni Bronii so ni asem bia na emum nokre was nothing but the truth shall set you free ti nokre na mo pe no meba
ali
baba
unim say so bi ho say protect over san kula nketenkete na ya wo mo. And we are very sensitive and mindful about that. We are not irresponsible. But you see, marriage is a big institution. Every society, marriage media society, break it down. Yeah, and Yali so-called worry, and by a month, the second one. We should respect that.
Sure.
Over so worry too, Amania, what the old warrior, which is a man boss. I can work out the for bro. Muslims don't say for I can marry more than 4 once it is under customary marriage. Why? Who is compelling them to marry under those ordinance laws so that they can marry? Who is compelling them? If you make a choice, you should live by it. You can't get the court to say I don't respect your certificate because it has not been certified when the facts are quite obvious. And what do we do in court? Justice.
Of course. The
truth is very important. You can't gloss over it. And you see, we refer to the judge, say, the Supreme Court has several said the court should not rely on technicalities and for them to defeat justice. It is so when the facts are there, you don't say when the law has given a caveat, say certify a that's a we took 8 days to hear a complete case. Ghana, what to be that 8 days are the case that we wanted to cooperate with the judge to come to the end before the funeral, which we did. And you see that we have been quiet about the judgment.
Angel.
Because appealing, he has ever commented too much. We go to the course of appeal. We only come in when people are blaming, trying to blame us. They are perfect work within that short time. Lawyers, organ do 5. The lawyer
I don't know.
Last week, a friend is Frimpong. I'm not Frimpong.
Yeah, lawyer not Frimpong.
Mr. Ona now, social media, so to I am pure, so 70 HM.
What in the middle?
Because I'm a classmate.
Okay, just okay.
I'm a classmate.
Law school and basic.
Law school.
Well, okay.
Oh no, I jurisprudence because no makola. Any jurisprudence.
It's not the okay.
To be say warina or say for 15 years on yet. I mean, and you see the facts he was narrating he was threatening the law because you see they were ordinary residents in Germany or Bani Okunu or Ma Echo School or Majuma or Mufi or and a man no yes or Bagana one I deserted in your wow, free our day for Bagana no. Or Bano to Germany desert. How can anybody even have that level of reasoning? Unless we have anybody. And if the judge says that we desert Lumba, I mean, why? 1 + 1, I don't know 5 and maybe no, German nationals. No one free Germany, but